Hello and welcome, guys. We are here for round 3 with the list that you see on screen. We've been karning some people. We actually got to resolve a Karn in the last round, which was very cool. And hopefully we can see Karn show a great impact here in this match 3. I will say that if you are interested in the details of the deck list and how we arrived at these particular card choices and this number, then you can check out match 1. That's where I go into detail about all of that good stuff. And I'm not going to recap that here. And yeah, I have nothing else to say other than let's get this 3-0. I will see you guys in the games. Excuse me if I'm wrong in saying this, but I thought that our match 1 opponent had a username. Now Magic Online is just saying unknown opponent. Was that the username of our opponent in round 1, or... I'm very confused. I'll have to go and check the video there just to see. Alrighty, we have our match. And we're on the play against M. Hayashi, the leaderboard dude, the guy with nearly 30 trophies to our 2, so this will be interesting. Maybe we can be his roadblock to another 5-0. Sorry, but it's gotta happen, playing against an Obosh, the Prey Piercer deck, so this is most likely going to be some sort of mono-red prowess strategy. That in mind, how do we feel about this hand? We get a turn to explore if we want to pay the steep price of 3 life. We can Karn for an engineered explosives and let our Karn die. If this was on the draw, it might not be fast enough. I mean, I don't know, it's still going to be playing and cracking explosives on turn 4, which is pretty slow. But we have Titan mana. We don't have a Titan. We do have a little bit of ramp, but it's going to cost us some points of life here. This hand is really sketchy, especially for the matchup. Every instinct in my body is telling me to mulligan this hand, but I kind of want to keep it for science. Man. This hand does everything I want it to, though. I cast a turn to explore, and it has Karn, and it has Titan mana, like, it's so close, but it's so far. Alright, I'm gonna mulligan. Hopefully we don't, pay for this egregious error. This hand has the potential to be much better. We have a Dryad to present a roadblock for our opponent to overcome, and this also will fix us for our green mana to continue casting spells like Azusa and hopefully eventually Primeval Titan. So I think we have to keep this. That said, I actually don't think that we want access to the Azusa here. It might even be our plan to just play Karn the Great Creator on turn 3 using our Amulet of Vigor. Yeah, I think Azusa is going to be biting the bullet here. Now we have to decide if we want to lead on Amulet on 1 and sacrifice access to Dryad. I think the answer to that one is going to be an obvious no. We kind of need this Amulet in play. And we also kind of need this Dryad in play, so let's just play a little bit of the slow game here. Our opponent, of course, goes turn 1 Soulscar Mage. What else? What else? Oh, we have an Explorer. That one will be for after playing our Dryad, I do believe. Also, can I just casually mention that we have both of the Valakets in our deck in play right now? That's a thing that has happened. Swift Spear, okay. This could get a little scary. Not gonna lie, Bounce Land. That's not a Bounce Land. It's a green land, which is actually fine. Alright, let's play out this Dryad here. And then play Explore, I do believe. It's the most mana-efficient thing we can do here. It does get a body in play, and we get an additional draw here, so we can pick up a copy of Primeval Titan and a copy of a Bounce Land, for example, and be good to go here. So, let's make this green mana, get this Explorer out of the way. Garenbrig, that one's fine. We'll play it, and we'll pass it back. Now we can Karn and grab an Explosives. If our opponent doesn't kill our Dryad, then we have access to Titan mana this upcoming turn. End of turn, Bolt the Dryad. Okay, so they're going after our Dryad for sure. Blood Moon. Okay, that's pretty nasty. We can still cast Explosives on 2. I mean, we can't block here. Our Dryad is going to be doing a lot of work here, potentially. Yeah, this is kind of an awkward situation now. We're still just casting Karn, I think. Unfortunately, We don't really have an efficient way to deal with this Blood Moon. Do we minus the Karn immediately? I think we have to. What can we even do here? Let's see, because we do have access to Sky Sovereign in the sideboard, but there's no guaranteeing that actually does anything. We can't do anything about this Blood Moon unless we draw a second basic, which we only play 3 of, so that's pretty unlikely. I don't think that we should rely on that. We could also draw a second Dryad and then unlock all of our lands to cast an EE. I think it's pretty safe. We could always just plus and force our opponent to either kill the Karn or give us 2 cards out of it, potentially. They'll probably just attack it, though. And this is just a horrible situation all around. We can minus for Wormcoil Engine. I think minusing for Wormcoil Engine is going to be the best option here. Yeah. Wormcoil Engine will help us stabilize against our opponent. It's something that we can cast through the Blood Moon. Yeah. That's all I can say about all of that. And we'll pass it back. Not attacking our opponent for -1. For those of you wondering, no, they would not be gaining 1 life if we attack for -1 points of damage. It's not how that works. Stomp. Okay, killing the Dryad. I wonder if our opponent has been crushing all these leagues with mono red prowess. If you know, let me know in the comments. Okay, so we're at 9. Land. Land. There we go. Alright, Wormcoil Engine, we need you now more than ever. I don't know if this will be enough to win the game, but we will learn. Our opponent has Bone Crusher Giants to cast for days, so... And they can always put minus counters on our Wormcoil Engine if they do have a Lightning Bolt or some sort of effect like that. Not sure what our opponent did, but that's okay. We'll definitely attack here. Not playing around our opponent having multiple burn spells, as that would just kill our Wormcoil anyways, so... Might as well pass it back, I guess. Could have played a land. I don't know. It doesn't really make a huge difference, in all honesty. Obosh coming into play. Okay. Attacking with everything. Okay. Interesting. Arboreal Grazer is a nice pickup. That one does something. Let's just hold on to this land. Our opponent doesn't need to know that we have Breeding Pool, even though it gives them very little information. So if we attack for 6 right now, let me see how this works exactly. If a source you control with an odd converted mana cost would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. So if we attack with our Wormcoil Engine, we're losing it, but we get 2 tokens out of the deal. We gain 6 life, and our opponent loses Obosh. If they don't block, then they get to attack us for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'd only be gaining 6, we'd be up to 15. I think we're supposed to attack here. Also, I do want to apologize for the background noise. Unfortunately, some of that's going to come through, and I'm not going to be able to edit it out. So we'll hopefully be able to deal with it. Flame Slash. Okay, that probably just kills us. Let's see if our opponent has the math correct here. That looks like more than enough damage to finish the job. Yeah. Okay. Well, our mulligan didn't pan out for us there. We should bring in some of these cards. Probably the explosives, since we're siding out Karn here. Hate to say it, but obviously Karn is not doing its weight here. Not pulling its weight. We want our Sky Sovereign. We want these Dismembers, most likely. They will gain us more life than they will deal us damage in the long run. Do we want... Oh, we saw Blood Moons, main board Blood Moons for that matter, so let's bring in Reclamation Stage for sure. And Beast Within is tempting, but probably not worth it. Alright, we can get these Explorers out of here, they're too slow. We can get one Summoners Pact out of here. And, yeah, do we just call it clean? Let's see, Bog is not very good against our opponent. We should probably be trimming that one. I guess they could have Bedlam Reveler. Would we rather have a Summoner's Pact or an Explorer than the Bog? Probably not. If our opponent were splashing black and we would potentially have to deal with Thoughtseize effects, then maybe Explorer would be more interesting to me, but that's not the case. I guess let's just keep the lands. I don't know, though. Should we be bringing in Wormcoil? My experience in this matchup has been that if you get to the point where you're resolving a Wormcoil, you are either already winning or you're so behind that a Wormcoil by itself doesn't actually win the game, which is pretty crazy, but it is true. I don't necessarily think that bringing in Wormcoil is the move. I've done it in the past. I just don't think it's very good. Let's see. I really feel like we should be siding out a land here, but you know what? Let's cut the Bog and bring in a Pact. We want to keep the Cavern over the Bog because Cavern casts our Boreal Grazer on turn 1, which is important. It also lets us play a turn 1 Amulet if we have that ability. We have Grazer, we have a basic land, we have a Summoner's Pact, we have all the lands we can need. I think we definitely keep this. And I'm going to lead on the Snow Forest into Grazer. It does potentially, quote-unquote, expose our Snow Forest to something, but I'm not really worried about that. Let's get our Breeding Pool in here tapped before we have to take any damage from it, and we'll pass it back. I mean, unless our opponent's going to lead Pillage our Snow Forest into Blood Moon, which I kind of doubt, then I think we'll be fine here, so... Alright, another Summoner's Pact is intriguing. We could use this turn to pact for a Dryad and play Vestige plus Garenbrig, and then the turn after, pay for the Pact, play Growth Chamber, and then another land, and be able to cast Titan the turn after. We're not going to be able to cast a Titan 2 turns from now anyways, so I guess that's probably the line. Alright, let's play Vestige. Yield, making a green. Our opponent can't even Blood Moon us this turn, so I think this is pretty free to do. And of course, the reason we're not playing our Growth Chamber out here is we don't want to lose to the 2-mana land destruction spell that is Cleansing Wildfire. That one would be a bit unfortunate, so let's not just get our Growth Chamber blown up by that and lose on the spot. Not very often that you see a turn 2 Dryad off of the Summoner's Pact. I do think it's correct here, though. I suppose if our opponent just plays a Blood Moon, not this turn, but the turn after, then we will have to naturally top deck a Titan. But, I mean, we have all 4 packs, I think. We did board the one back in, right? Yeah, so we do have additional live top decks for that purpose. We're losing our Dryad. Very unfortunate. We will block? Question mark? Or can we potentially absorb more damage later? We don't want to let our Grazer get bolted, so let's just block and take our 3 life points. It's probably worth the trade. We have a Titan, not this turn, but next turn anyways. I don't know why Magic Online is not registering my clicks, but we'll deal with it. Alright. Yes. Okay. Well, we'll play Vesuva copying our Snow Forest, in the case our opponent does have a Blood Moon. That way we'll still be able to cast Titan this upcoming turn. There's the Blood Moon. Not ideal, but it is dealable. There's a Dryad. That invalidates Blood Moon to some extent, but we're not going to be gaining life off of Radiant Fountain, for example. Or triggering Valakut. I do think it's probably correct to get the Titan into play now, though. I suppose if we play Dryad and then play Titan, then we have no chance of losing to, like, a Molten Rain or Pillage type effect. But you know what? To be honest, that's a risk I'm willing to take. I'd rather get the big guy in play. So let's just, you know, go straight for it. And here we can get a couple more basics, actually, off of our Titan ETB trigger, since there's nothing else to get, really, anyways. And that way we can play around it. I think we get at least one basic land here. So let's get our forest. There's probably no need to pick up a second basic land, so we could set up for potentially being able to kill our opponent's Blood Moon with another Summoner's Pact, or transmuting Tolaria West using the Dryad ability with our basic lands. I think that's probably acceptable. So let's set that up for a potential future set of lines here. So, of course, the key interaction here is that basic lands, even a Vesuva, as long as they enter the battlefield as a basic land before Blood Moon, are able to tap for any color under the Dryad ability here, as Blood Moon does not erase their land types since they are basic lands. So we can tap these forests for a basic, as if they were a basic island as well. In other words, we can tap them for blue in order to transmute a Tolaria West. So if we draw Tolaria West or a Summoner's Pact, we have access to Reclamation Sage here. My opponent is attacking. That's quite bold. I suppose we lose our Titan to like 2 spells, but I'm going to take this block. I think that our opponent's big braining us, and if they're not, I mean, they have a Blood Moon in play, so what else are we going to do about it? Okay, they had 2 spells. That's probably fine. They use a lot of resources to deal no damage to us, so let's not tap all this mana. So it's not the worst thing in the world to have occurred. Dryad. Our opponent is on no resources at all. I mean, they are about to cast a Bone Crusher Giant, which we have no way of effectively dealing with at the moment, but if we do manage to draw a Summoner's Pact or a Tolaria West, then we can... well, now we don't have Dryad plus Valakut, so now we're lacking a plan. Things are getting difficult. Also, Engineered Explosives would have been a phenomenal draw with a Dryad still in play, but now that we don't have access to that, things are getting a little rougher. We'll obviously cast a Titan here, since we just expertly top-deck Titan. Still not really sure what our plan is. We just need to get the basic out of our deck at this point, and I guess a second Valakut makes sense. We want to keep all of our Tolaria Wests in deck to potentially draw them, if we do draw a Dryad as well. I don't know, things are just getting weird. Well, we outclass our opponent's Bone Crusher Giant with our 6/6 Trampler, so that's nice. Light up the stage is pretty annoying. Another Titan is fantastic. Let's swing out with this one. So our opponent is likely to trade their board for our Titan, since they're losing to it anyways. And let's fish out a couple more lands that we would rather not draw. Like Field of the Dead, which will be useful if we are able to kill our opponent's Blood Moon. And maybe a bounce land here wouldn't be the worst. Radiant Fountain is one that we'd like to be able to search for after the Blood Moon is gone, so we probably want to keep that in deck. Let's just go with the Growth Chamber here. Of course, our opponent is trading with our Titan, which is expected. They do not know that we have another Titan fresh off the top, so this definitely is a trade that benefits us, I would say. Here's another Titan. Apparently we did not float enough mana. That is alright. Alright, and let's get a... I guess it doesn't really matter at this point. Anything but Tolaria West is the best choice. So let's get Garenbrig and Hanweir Battlements, sure. And we'll pass it back. Maybe we can beat them with a 6/6. Although they are about to get access to Obosh, so that's kind of embarrassing. Stomp. Unfortunate. That one's very good in this situation. Alright. Sky Sovereign is fantastic. That's a very good one to have access to here. It also flies in the air to prevent our opponent from blocking our creatures. So let's get rid of this Bone Crusher Giant. And yeah, I guess we're just passing it back. Probably no point in attacking for 4 there. They get Obosh, okay. And pass it back, okay. Dismember. That is a nice answer to Obosh. Alright, so let's go to Pound Town. Screw up this Sky Sovereign for sure. Who needs to get 2 lands from your deck when you can just shoot your opponent's creatures into the ground with Sky Sovereign abilities? I don't like that one. I want it gone. Off my clean battlefield. Here we go. Pass it back. Play your Obosh so we can dismember it. Let's just snap it off. Get it done right immediately. Sure. Alright, let's give our opponent the chance to attack potentially first. They're not... Oh, they are going to do it. Okay, well, that only makes sense. They're about to lose their Soulscar Mage anyways, so let's just take our 1 damage. And I want that one off my battlefield too. You're not welcome here, Obosh. You are not welcome here whatsoever. Sky Sovereign is really taking over this game. Oh, and Summoner's Pact probably just ends it. Yep, let's get Reclamation Sage and really slam the door on this game. It's over, I said. You know, we'll just draw every perfect top deck in the deck sequentially, and maybe that'll be good enough, you know? Maybe that will be good enough. Now we probably don't want to crew up Sky Sovereign. Oh, actually, we have a tech play. We can play our Rot Farm before combat here, and then crew it up with the Reclamation Sage and our newly made zombie. We do have to crew 3 here, but yeah, this game is just super over, so... Done. Alright. We'll swing with these 2. Triggers. There. And let's search for some more lands. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Alright, now we can finally profit from our saving Radiant Fountain. We can get Radiant Fountain to Talari West and transmute for a Dryad, and things are good. Things are good. Yield to our Radiant Fountain. Just have all the triggers in the world, you know? I don't know if our opponent has an out here at all, to be honest. We'll definitely find out, but... Another mountain's not helping them. Alright. Game 3? Dude, Sky Sovereign was really impressive that game. Do we want Wormcoil Engine? Am I wrong in not bringing it in? I don't know. Having literally anything to slam onto the battlefield and put a stop to our opponent's tricks seems pretty good. Let's get this Cavernous Halls out of here, I think. And we'll run it back. Yeah, I think Summoner's Pact is a bit of a liability, but I think it's one that we're willing to accept to get the powerful effect of it, so... this hand has a lot of things. It does not have a lot of lands, sadly, but... I mean, I don't think we can afford to mulligan it. I really wish we would just top deck an untapped green source. Just like a basic forest off the top would be fantastic. I don't see a world where we can really realistically mulligan this hand, though. We'll keep. Kind of awkward, but we'll keep. Our opponent mulliganed to 6 here. This match might be salvageable yet. Opponent keeps their 6. Mountain go. Something tells me that our opponent likely has a Blood Moon hand here. Definitely a Blood Moon hand here. Castle Garenbrig. Well, we're gonna need to get a basic land out here. we can play the castle, Ghost Quarter it, play a Grazer, and get Gruul Turf into play, and pick up our forest, so that next turn we can cast a Dryad if our opponent doesn't have Blood Moon. I mean, if they do have Blood Moon, and we just pass after playing Garenbring and hold up the Ghost Quarter, then we can get our Gruul Turf into play without having to bounce a land, but let's go with the highest upside play, I think. We also get a Grazer into play this way, so playing around, Blood Moon, you know, doing all the things. It's cool, it's cool. Arboreal Grazer. Yeah, I just put myself back a land. What about it? We're a million years away from Titan Mana, but that's cool. We need some lands here. There's the Blood Moon. Hey, another forest. That's very welcome. Let's play an Explosives on 1 here, I think. Just because we're not doing anything else with our mana, and 1 is definitely the most active number for our Engineered Explosives here. I would love to have attacked with the Grazer for the meme of it, but probably not worth it. Light up the stage hard casted. They're doing it the hard way. I respect it. Alright, they're passing it back. So far, so decent. I was going to say good, but I'll say decent for now. So far, so decent. Let's get this Dryad into play. Pass it back. Seasoned Pyromancer. That's all well and good. Our opponent is trying to filter through some of their bad cards here. Trying to get a little bit of a board presence here. Oh, they had a Shattering Spree that they could have used on our Explosives and didn't. That's interesting. Flame Slash. I did kind of expect that, not gonna lie. Another Summoner's Pact. Not really ideal. So what are we doing here? I guess we're just passing it back. We could play Explosives on 0 to clean up these tokens. That doesn't seem like a worthy use of our mana. We could play out this Amulet, but that doesn't really mean much. I mean, we could pack for a Dryad, not a Dryad, a Rex Sage and blow up the Blood Moon, and then be able to play a bounce land once, if we already had an Amulet in play. But one play of a bounce land doesn't really accomplish much anyways, so I'm not inclined to put this Shattering Spree target into play, so let's just pass it back. Our opponent will have Obosh eventually, which we probably need to save our Dismember for, if I'm being completely honest. We will block this 2 damage here. Gut shot me. I'm not scared. Light up the stage. Okay, we're not going to counter that one, considering we're currently unable to play any counterspells. Firebolt the Grazer. Had to be done. I understand. Obosh in the hand. Okay, okay. I mean, we're doing pretty alright here. There's our bounce land. So, we know we're going to have to dismember this Obosh. That's probably what our opponent's going to play this upcoming turn. We can play Amulet this turn, and dismember the Obosh, and then next turn, pack for a Rex Sage, Summoner's Pact for a Rex Sage, blow up the Blood Moon, and have a play of a bounce land. I suppose if we draw a second Amulet, it still doesn't really do much. I mean, we're not doing anything else this turn, though. I'm trying to debate whether we play the Growth Chamber at all. I suppose if we do, we can Explosives on 1 and still hold up Dismember. Not that it makes a huge difference, really. I think we're going to want the Growth Chamber for repeated plays, so let's just play it slow here. We'll play our Amulet, like nothing ever happened, and just pass it back. Hold on to this Growth Chamber for future usage. Here's the Obosh. Sure. Perfectly understandable. Let's dismember this Obosh now, and take as little damage as possible. Okay. Yep. Oh, so we can just naturally draw the Azusa. That's interesting. I mean, it doesn't really change much. We could pack for Rex Sage now. That gives our opponent a window to second Blood Moon us, which would be awful. Awkward. That said, we could also play explosives on 0. No, we wouldn't be able to pay for our Summoner's Pact. Now this is really weird. I think we have to pact for the Rex Sage, in all honesty. Do we just hope our opponent doesn't have another Blood Moon? This is so awkward. Yeah, I think we just have to get the Rex Sage into play now. Yeah, I don't think we have a choice. Rex Sage. Let's go ahead and do that thing. Out of here, Blood Moon. Didn't like ya. Never did. Growth Chamber. And now, what we pick up here is going to be very important. If we pick up the Gruul Turf, we'll still have access to Bounce Land to go with our Azusa, but we'll be exposed to a Molten Rain effect. I suppose in 2 turns, we can play a Titan without needing Azusa anyways, though. And so we may not need to have a Bounce Land in hand here. No, I suppose if we pick up a basic land, we're still dying to a Molten Rain effect. Weird. Okay, at least we can hold up explosives for 1 here, though, if we just say that it's fine. Let's pick up a basic land. It's fine. Now we have the freedom to activate explosives on 1 if we want to. I don't know, this is weird and complicated. For no reason. Please don't Molten Rain us. Okay, Flame Slash is... I mean, it's a little scary, we're taking some damage, but I think we can ultimately survive. Should we have played explosives on 0 there? I don't know. Oh, no! They had the second Blood Moon! Alright, they win. We lose. Alright. Let's just go to the part where we lose to Summoner's Pact. Okay. Nope. And we would have been drawing another basic land. Take that, Blood Moon. Small victories, you know. Alright, well, let's go back to the details here. We finally managed to pick up our first loss here. It was bound to happen sometime, and... I mean, to be honest, we're probably just helping M. Hayashi pave his way to another 5-0 here, so I can't be too mad about that. Hopefully, some of these background noises didn't come through too bad, and if they did, I apologize. And yeah, I have nothing else to say, except I hope that you enjoyed that match. I hope that you learned something from it, at the very least. And if you did, then show your support by liking, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff. I definitely pay attention to all the comments that I receive. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I will see you guys in the next match. This is Redface Menace, signing off.